Hello, world, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Little Bit Different podcast with your host, Cory Sterling. That's me. What's up? I hope everything has been amazing with you since you last heard my voice, whenever that was. If this is your first time hearing my voice, welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm super excited to share some awesome information with you. This is the first of a series of podcasts that I'll be recording while I'm in Ghana. So at the current moment, I'm in a beautiful place called Escape 3 Points in the western region of Ghana. And if you hear the noise of the rolling waves in the ocean, that's because the ocean's about 150 meters to my right. And if you hear amazing, beautiful jungle noises of different birds or monkeys or whoever's chilling in the jungle today, that's because the jungle is 5 meters to my left. And there's also a bunch of goats that live on the property and wander around. So if you hear those are goat noises. I don't know what they're called, but there's goats here too. So we're in the jungle and by the beach, and so any noises that you hear is because that's where we are. And I'm so happy to be here in the local language in Ghana. The local language is Twi, and they have a word, Akwaba, which means welcome. So a big Akwaba to everyone who's listening. And just as a side note, if you've never been to Ghana, it's a beautiful, amazing place filled with really fun characters, fascinating history, and just teeming with culture. So I'll put a little bit of plug in, just so you know, the official National Tourism Bureau of Ghana is not sponsoring this podcast. I know maybe there might be some confusion, so I just want to make everything clear. Okay, we have a massive episode today, and I'm super excited to share it with you. This is a topic that I am really excited to talk about, and something that I have spent years of my life developing and building, and that is how to build your own heart-leading business. And it's how to build a heart-leading business, but also how to build an online heart-leading business. And I started my online law firm, Counsel, in 2017 or 2016. I always forget just because time passes like that. But I've learned a ton. I've learned a ton about building a heart-leading business during this time. And I'm excited to share all of it with you. And in addition to that, I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this because other than the experiences of growing my own successful business and watching it grow and seeing it change and evolve and become better and more efficient and more profitable and all of these things, I've also been lawyer and legal counsel to over 1,000 small business owners, all of whom are heart-leading business owners as well. So the cool thing about being a lawyer is that confidentiality is part of the relationship. No, I'm not going to tell you any of my client secrets, but the cool thing is that when I have conversations and communications with clients, they're always very open and forthright with me. So they're not going to lie to their lawyer or pretend something, because they know that whatever they tell me is strictly confidential and I can't share it with anyone else. And that in order to support them and protect them and to get them the solution that they need, they have to tell me the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. There you go. So I have a lot of experience working with a lot of different clients and companies and entrepreneurs. And I've seen some of the formulas that are required in order to build a successful business. And so I'm really, really happy to share and talk about that. The one thing about heart leading that I'll say, and like that's sort of like the asterisk for this episode, if you're looking for an entrepreneur coach who's like, we want to grow widgets and develop widgets, I'm not your guy for that. I'm not by no means am I a trained business person at all. Everything I've learned is from my practical experience. And also any project that I've ever undertaken or done has always been something that I'm super passionate about, right? Like I'm starting something now with kite surfing and Pilates. Those are two things that I'm passionate about. I love it. I'm doing things now where I'm going on a book tour for the yoga law book to different yoga teacher trainings in Southeast Asia. That's something that I'm super passionate about. Conscious counsel, being a lawyer for awesome boutique fitness studios and yoga professionals and health coaches and all these amazing and retreat organizers. That's something that I'm super passionate about. So it's not that if you're looking like, oh, I want to start a business and maximize profitability and just make as much money as I possibly can, then I'm not really your guy. And I can tell you with certainty that any project I've ever taken, my top priority has never been to make as much money as possible. It's always been to see a dream become realized, build a community that I think will make the world a better place, and have a lot of fun working with awesome people. Those are always my priorities in any project that I undertake. So just as a caveat, if you're looking to if profitability is your number one objective, that's awesome and totally cool. But from a strict business sense, I don't know that I'm the one who can help you. That being said, if you're into living a heart-leading life, as I've discussed before, and being the change that you want to see in the world and creating the community and offering the product or the service that you think will make the world a better place, then I am able to help you, and I'm a resource. And that leads me to the first point that I want to talk about, and that is that you have permission. So I've just given you permission right now. I've given you permission to have a heart-leading business and be insanely profitable at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. I have so many clients who live in financial abundance. I myself, I live in financial abundance. And I just want you to know off the bat that if you have any sort of mentality or mindset around, oh, because I'm doing what I love and I'm helping people who I really want to help, that means that I'm not, I can't live in financial abundance or be insanely successful or profitable. That is not true. So first things first, let's just kick that out the door. And then now I'm going to dive into 10 different principles that I've come up with. But I just wanted to take care of that housekeeping, that you have permission, you are allowed, you deserve to have a business that you love, that you feel is your life purpose, that's building the community that you always wanted to build, that's helping other people reach their potential or live a healthier, happier life, and be insanely profitable and live in financial abundance. So cool, we've taken care of it. The first thing, and I've come up with 10 principles that I'm going to talk about in this episode, and so I'm just going to jump into them. The first is that your dream business has to be your dream business. And what that means is let me scratch that. It will sound very silly to other people. Other people are not going to understand what it is that you're trying to create and the way that you're trying to create it. And that's okay because it's your dream and it's not their dream, right? So sometimes people will tell me their ideas and I just think, wow, far out. That's different. But it doesn't matter what I think, because the most important thing is that whatever it is that you're creating is your actual creation and the thing that you think that the world needs and that will make the world a better place. And that is connected to your purpose and your contribution while you're alive as a human being. And that is all that matters. Okay. Very quickly, when I told people that I wanted to be a lawyer, that I wanted to work online, and that I wanted to work with yoga professionals and other health and wellness professionals, every single person told me it wouldn't work. Okay? And that's okay. I didn't really take stock of it too much, because what I realized is this is my dream. And for these people, they have their own dream. And as long as what you are following is your true dream, that is all that really matters. And usually your dream business will be the combination of a couple of different passions that you have in your life and things that you really care about and that you're really good at and that you know really, really well. And so for someone who doesn't live in that world or who doesn't understand what that's about, it's not going to make any sense to them what it is that you're trying to do. But that doesn't matter. You really have to learn. You have to, whatever it is that you're creating, make sure that it is your pure creation. So obviously with Conscious Counsel now it's an established business and we've won awards and we've got more than 355 star reviews and I've worked with over 1,000 clients. So now no one can say to me, oh, it won't work. But when I started and there was no evidence or proof, sure, there was no evidence or proof and it doesn't matter. And it's the same thing that I'm building with my Pilates for Kite business, right? So I'm a Pilates instructor and I've created a program specifically for kite surfers and kiteboarders, different routines and practices to help become a better kiter, to jump higher, to jump better, to feel better when you get out of the water, better lateral movements, have a more comfortable feeling body. Someone who doesn't do Pilates and doesn't do kite, it's not going to relate to them whatsoever. But all that matters is that for me, there's so many times where I got out of the water with my body killing, and I was like, there should be something. Someone should be able to help me. So number one is it has to be your dream business. And then number two is, and this is really, really important, you can't listen to what anyone else says about it. You just can't. You can't. If you want to, you can, but it will not be helpful in you creating what it is that you want to create. And I can tell you, if you ask anyone who has built heart leading business, there definitely were people before there was any proof or evidence that they were going to succeed. There were people who told them that they couldn't do it. And if I'm being honest, at the start of when I built Conscious Counsel, probably like the first year or 2 years, my biggest motivation, like just in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to write that person and tell them I'm still doing this and that it really worked and that I got 10 clients or whatever. And that's like, we are where we are when we're there, right? So that's where I was in a phase of my business. But I just want to let you know that if you have an idea, if you've come up with your dream business idea of the difference you want to make in the world, and you share it with other people and they don't get it or they don't like it or they tell you it's not going to work, who cares? You listen to the voice in yourself, you have a vision of what it looks like, you see it, you feel it, you experience it, and it comes to happen. So, and then later people will be like, oh, this is such a great idea. And it's like, okay, cool, awesome, thank you, I appreciate that. But there is a sense of inner strength that is so necessary in order to be able to build and grow your own heart leading business. And that inner strength has to be, I don't care what anyone else says about this, I really believe that this is the right thing and this is what the world needs, and you go and you do it. The third principle that I think is important to share, and this is the importance of reverse engineering the business and how it works. So when I say reverse engineering, is the sorts of questions as you're starting this business out, the sorts of questions and things you want to look at are, where do I want to be working? What do I want my work hours to be? How much money do I want to be earning? Who am I working with? What am I specifically doing with them? All of those sorts of things. And the way that it works is you start at the end. So you would say something like, okay, let's say you want to be online. So I want to be working online. I only want to be working from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. in my time zone. I only want to be doing group offerings, and I want to be providing coaching to an online course that I made about a particular subject or a particular topic. As an example, I want to be earning $10,000 a month. I'm going to price my program at $1,000 per, and so I need 10 clients who are going to pay $1,000. I can, when they sign up with me, they can sign a client service agreement that specifically says what hours I'm working and all those sorts of things. But the point of this exercise, and it will change, and it's always changing because our desires are always changing and what we want always changes. But it's so important that when you're starting and building it out, you need to know what you're working towards. So a very, very, very simple example for me is that when I was building my law firm, the most important thing for me was that I was going to operate online. I was like, I want to go see the world. I want to be out there. And, when I'm back in Canada, I'll be able to work online from my home and my home office. But if I'm out in the world, or like if I'm in Ghana or Mozambique or Zambia or wherever it is that I am, I want to be able to work. So that was really simple, because then what I did as a lawyer is I was like, okay, I want to work online. What are the types of services that I can offer as a lawyer where I'm working online? And what are the things that I'm not able to do, or I should not accept because I'm working only online and I'm not doing anything in person? And like classic universe, I came up with this list, and then there was just a barrage of people who wanted me to offer in-person services. And I was a very, very young company. I didn't really have any money. And it was like so tempting. I was like, oh my God, I just need clients. Where are my next clients going to come from? But I was very, very strict. And I was like, nope, I'm sorry. Here, I referred them to my old boss or someone else who I worked with, or someone who I knew was really good in that field. And it's amazing that when you say no to things, it opens up so much more. And I think I can say for myself, I believe like the universe saw that I was really, really serious about doing this online thing, and like was sort of tempting me a little bit. And I was like, no way, not taking it on. And then it started flowing. and everything that I wanted to do online started happening to me. So reverse engineering is so important because, and you're always going to change it, but you have to start from the end and build your lifestyle, build your income expectancy, build your role, build your services. What are you doing? What are you not doing? The fourth principle is the importance of being the type of person who you want to work with. So for me as a lawyer, my first 3 years of working as a lawyer before I started my own business, which were very valuable years and really years that I needed to become the professional that I am today to work with my clients and understand how to take my work seriously and do good work. I was just, in all the businesses I worked, I was like, no wonder my clients hate me or hate working with lawyers. And I just thought, I remember as I was building it, I just thought, well, if I could choose to work with a lawyer, what would that relationship look like? What would the services be? How would they be offered? Where would they be offered? What would the energy be? What would the vibe be of working with a lawyer? And I just built it that way. And it's what's amazing for me is as I've built a professional team around me, and I'll just give accountants and bookkeepers as an example, I used to have a bookkeeper who I didn't like, and I used to have an accountant who I didn't like. And then I was just like, okay, like where is that accountant who's like the accountant version of what I am as a lawyer? And who do I want to work with and what does it look like? And you'll know, it's sort of like when you're making new friends, if you move to a new place, or even think of your old friends and the things that you love about them. You're like, what do I love about my friends? So it's sort of like also as a friend, sometimes I think like, I want to be the friend that I would want to be friends with. And I think that if you're able to build that and put that into your business and always keep that as the focus, like, you know, I want to be the yoga teacher that I would have as my yoga teacher. What would my yoga teacher do? They would be playing The War on Drugs in class. They would be playing Sigur Rós in class. They would be playing Kurt Weill in class. They would have extra long Shavasana. Yeah, they would. It's good to make myself laugh sometimes. But this is a really important principle that I just want to make sure that I get out and share. The next question is, once you realize that, you know, okay, I've reverse engineered it. Let's just do a very brief recap of where we are. It's my dream business. It's me matching it's connected to my purpose and who I am and what I want to create. I'm not listening to what anyone else says about it, and I'm going ahead and building it. I'm reverse engineering it so I know where I'm working, what services I'm offering, what they look like, all those sorts of things. And I am building the services around being the type of professional who I would want to work with. The next question is, what problem are you solving, or what solution are you creating? And this is very, very important because this is going to be the crux of your business, of the offering that you have. And I'm so tempted to talk about niche right now, but I'm going to wait until I get to my part on niche. But I just share that it's so important to realize that the purpose of your business is either to solve someone's problem that they have in a unique, different, and awesome way, or it is to create a solution for someone that they didn't even know that they needed. Like they're not even aware or present that they have this problem, and you not only know about the problem, but you're giving them the solution to that. So, you know, this is why when it comes to services like yoga or Pilates or training, it's always good to have a unique twist on it. And maybe it could be, maybe the problem that you're solving is, you know, okay, maybe you're exercising, but you're not part of a community. So the solution we have is we've created an amazing community. These are our values. This is what we're about. This is how we spend our time. This is what we do. If you're a professional in a particular industry, you'd have to look at what's the problem in this industry that most of my potential clients are suffering or going through, and what can I do to be able to create something to help them? Because if you think about any purchase that you make, you, as a consumer, you're buying something that you think will make you feel good, or that you think will make you healthier, or that you think will provide more value into your life. And so the goal for entrepreneurs is, and especially hard leading entrepreneurs is, A, you have to convey the message really, really clearly, and I'll speak about that in a second. But B, you have to be offering some form of solution, possibility, avoidance of a problem that your client, that your target market is currently experiencing. And I'll talk about target markets when I talk about niche. But this is another really, really important point that I wanted to mention. Like you have to be solving a problem. You have to be providing a solution for something, and really, really dive deep on that. Now, this is the next, this is of all of the things that I've shared, I think this is number 6, but this is so important. You have to read books on entrepreneurship. And I spent the first 2 to 3 years of my business just reading books. And I can include in the show notes a list of a couple of the books that I read, which were helpful. What comes to mind off the top of my head, Good to Great was a really, really helpful book. Traction by Gino Wickman is a really, really helpful book. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, I'm going to speak about that in a second, is a really, really helpful book. And basically, you can just go to Amazon and put in top books on entrepreneurialism. And if you listen to Audible, download them. If you read books, read them. And I'll just say why. And I'm just speaking from my own experience, right? I used to have a story that, like, I'm not good at business. I don't know if anyone else has that story. I'm not good at business. I'm not good at numbers. I don't know how to do any of these things. And then probably like the first 3 months of my business, I had a pity party and I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. And I don't know how to do this. And this is so hard and whatever. Like I stopped learning math in grade 10. And yeah, and that was like something, I closed a lot of doors to myself. Actually, I didn't, because I'm very pleased with where I am, and I think things turned out as good as they could have, but I never learned anything about math. So in some ways you think like, oh, I'm a business person, I have to know math. And what I learned is that there are all of these amazing entrepreneurs who have written books about all of the problems that you're going to experience and go through. Like, they've already gone through these problems. So your obligation to yourself and to your business is part of your business when you're starting out, especially like I would say the first 6 months, the first 2 hours of the day, read books. Read books, read books, read books. What I've learned about being an entrepreneur is that, like, maybe you're not born as an entrepreneur, but you can learn to become an entrepreneur. And especially if you've always worked for other companies. I mean, I wasn't an entrepreneur until I was 33 years old. Every paycheck that I got came from someone else. And once I did become an entrepreneur, I just decided to read as much as possible. So the next principle, and this is like a specific book and a specific concept that I think is really, really helpful. And that is, the book is called Building a Story Brand. And the guy's name is Donald Miller. He has an online course, which is super helpful, that I've gone through. And he has this concept that, like, he used to be a writer in Hollywood, and then he turned it to marketing. He's like, every story in Hollywood has the exact same formula. And what you need to do is you need to create a formula and a story around your business. And it's such a helpful exercise as you're getting ready to launch and as you're building things out, to actually build a story brand around your business. And essentially it's like, okay, you're not the hero, your client is the hero, but you're a guide, and the hero is on a journey, and they have all of these obstacles that they come up with. And if they're able to succeed, these are the rewards that they get. And if they're unable to, these are the punishments or the problems that they're going to have. And for you as the guide, you have to give them a roadmap in order to succeed. And it's like, it's such a helpful, logical way of thinking about your business, that, like, you can just plug in the specifics of your business into a story brand, and it's like, voila, this is the story that I have to tell my clients, this is what I have to create, and this is the way that I have to create it. So if we're talking about how to build a hard-leading business, I think coming up with a story brand is super important. And just doing the online course and looking at the things that Donald Miller, like, that's an example of something that Cory, could never have been able to come up with, but it's something that I learned early on in my career as an entrepreneur, as an online entrepreneur, and I've just implemented it. And now it's like, anytime I have a new idea, I'm like, automatically I just story brand it first. Like, that's my first step, is story brand the idea. So it's something that's really, really helpful. Okay, the next words that I have are niche, niche, niche. I've built my business on having a niche. I've built all of my businesses on having niches. There are varying arguments out there where some people will say, like, why niches don't work. And, like, cool, if that's your vibe and that works for you and you're successful in doing that, do it. But it's so important from my perspective, and I just want to share what I want for all of you. the best feeling that I have as a lawyer is when someone signs up to work with me and they're like, I have another lawyer already, but they don't understand anything about the yoga industry, or they don't understand anything about health coaching, or they don't understand anything about operating a retreat. And like, for me, those are the magic words that are just so validating and delicious. Like, I just want to cuddle. I just want to cuddle those words. That's what I want to do, because it goes to prove the power of a niche. And the whole point of a niche is that there is a person out there who is not being recognized for the unique gifts that they have, for the unique industry that they work in, and no one understands them and no one gets them. And the power of a niche is that you are able to create services that specifically understand, support those people and help them and make them feel seen. This is what it's about. And it's triple easier when it's something that you love. So for me, I love yoga. So it's very easy for me to spend time to understand the legal issues that a yoga professional has and is going through so that I can support them as best as possible. For me, I love Pilates. So it's very easy for me to understand the specific issues and equipment and risks and life cycle of a Pilates business to support those clients. I love retreats. So it's very easy for me to understand retreat organizers and the risks that they have and the challenges that they have and how to best protect them. That's the heart leading piece of it for me. And I just want to give a small example. I'm here, in the jungle and beach here in Ghana, and there's a yoga teacher on the space, and she loves Afrobeat dancing and yoga. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, why don't you? And like, I did a dance class. Yes, I did an Afrobeat dance class. And I also did a yoga class. And in the yoga class, I was like, why don't we incorporate some of the Afrobeat, with music into these yoga classes? And that's just like, boom, at least for me, how my mind works. I'm like, that is your niche. Like, be the Afrobeat yoga instructor. You can go to conferences, you can go to festivals. People will be dying for that. People will love that. So niche, 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 niche. The ninth principle, or the ninth point that I have, is believe and know that if you are putting out your authentic vision, people will follow. There's a leap of faith required. You're going to have to jump at some point. People aren't going to believe, maybe no one's going to support you. Everyone's going to tell you that you're crazy for having this idea, but you have to believe in yourself. And the most important point is that what you're putting out is truly yourself. When I started as a lawyer, my biggest thing is, and like, this is when I had, my first 10 clients, my whole thing was I would tell them I love them. Like, every email would be like, hey, like, I love you. I love what you're about. And that was me being very, very authentic. And one of my first clients, his name is Shay Emery, and he's amazing. He was a CFL player. Now he's doing awesome stuff up in Whistler, BC. And like, I remember, like, he and I had a meeting, and I think the meeting was at my cousin Stephanie at her house in Vancouver, because she was friends with Shay and Devin. Anyways. And I was like, man, like, I love you. I love what you're doing. And he just had such a strong, wonderful response to that I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's okay to tell my clients that I love them. And firstly, how weird is that we don't feel it's okay to tell people that we love them in a professional context. But anyways, it was just like, it was so real. And seeing how real his reaction was, I was like, cool, I have permission to do this. And in terms of building your community and knowing that your people will follow, I started with 0 clients. Now I have over 1,000. My mailing list is almost 6,000 people with a 36% open rate. Not that I looked at that information, or review that information once a week, but I think a good business owner should know that. The point is, when you're starting, no one's going to be there. But you have to do what you authentically feel you need to do. And the people they just come out of the woodwork. They find you. And so many times I've had conversations with partners or clients where they're like, I'm so happy I found you. I'm so happy that you exist. And that's only because I was always being my real self. Like, hey, this is how I lawyer. This is how I do. If it fits for you, awesome. If it doesn't, I love you. Good luck. I hope you find the lawyer that connects with you perfectly. And then the last principle that I want to share in terms of this, building an online business and building your heart leading business, is that the world is way smaller than you think. and people are dying for what it is that you want to offer. Sometimes it's really, really hard to see that because you're by yourself, you're in your own world, there's no evidence, there's no proof. You think, oh, maybe I'm living in a small town and no one in this town loves Afrobeat and yoga or whatever it is, or I'm in this small town and no one's looking for a hard-leading lawyer or whatever it is, but I'm like social media and the ability to connect with people will just find you. And it's so much easier than you think. And the world is so much smaller than you think that it is in 2024. Like whatever it is that you want to create, however niche it is, can be something as random as Pilates and kite surfing together. Your people are there. They're looking for you. They're waiting for you. Create it, put it out there, give them the things that they love, and know that I love and support you the whole way. And I've seen so many people do this, and I just want you to be able to do this as well. So I'll now provide a little bit of a summary of the different principles or ideas that I've spoken about. Look, it's a ton of information for, to try to put into 34 minutes, but I didn't want to exclude any of this, and I think all of it's really important. So, 1, the vision, the business has to be your dream. 2, you can't listen to what anyone else says or thinks about it. 3, you have to begin with the end in mind, reverse engineer it. 4, you have to be the type of person who you'd want to work with. 5, you have to be solving a problem. 6, you have to read a ton of books in order to learn what it means to be an entrepreneur and become as best as possible. 7, come up with the story brand and get Donald Miller's book and read about Donald Miller. Number 8, develop a niche. Marry the different things that you love and that you think the world needs more of, and people will respond. 9, believe and know that whatever you create authentically, your people will find you. Your people will find you. You have to believe in it. You have to put it out there. And number 10, the world is way smaller than you think it is, and it's so easy to connect with so many people all over. They're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to create that idea that you have where you're like, holy smokes, how has no one put Pilates and kite surfing together ever before? They're waiting for that. And until you take the leap and put it out there, you can't help them, and you can't solve their problems, and you can't create the community, and you can't be the change that you want to see in the world. So I've really enjoyed this. I hope that you've enjoyed this. This is a little bit different, right? I don't think the things that I've shared here are really the traditional or typical entrepreneurial tips that someone would give. But again, this is specifically for heart-leading businesses and more specifically for online business owners. But this is a different way to do it. This is the way that I've done it. This is the way that I've seen people succeed in doing it. And my hope and my prayer is that you follow your intuition, that you become the best version of yourself, and that you share your idea and create your community in the world, because we need it. We need to be different. We need different offerings. We need people looking at things in a different way and creating different opportunities to express themselves and become self-actualized. So this is Cory Sterling. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember to stay different.